It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. You can email me as well, randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. You know, things have gotten really expensive in Southern California, and homeowners are trying to find every way they can to make an extra buck. In fact, over the weekend, I helped contribute to that because my wife and I were looking for a place to beat the heat. We don't have a pool, so we use the app Swimply to rent somebody's backyard in Northridge for 3 hours, $35 an hour, and we get to have a wonderful, beautiful pool day. And that homeowner gets an extra $105. Well, whatever their cut is after the website, but pretty great experience. Some people go the route of renting out an extra room, whether they do it long-term or they do it on one of the short-term rental apps. Some people have a second property and they're renting it out there. A word of warning to anybody that is looking to rent a room or an extra piece of property that they have on one of the short-term rental apps, Airbnb and VRBO, is this. They are short-term rental apps for a reason. And even if you can find somebody that is willing to stay in your extra place, in your extra room for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and that seems like a good idea, remember what state you're in. Remember the kinds of squatter protections that exist because you don't want what happened to this woman to happen to you. For more on an Air BNB Squatter story, we go to ABC 7, Eyewitness News.
The sign on the door says it all. No trespassing. If you try and enter, we will press charges for violation of expectation of privacy. This sign is on the front door of Fazana Rahman's Airbnb dorm rental.
That's right. It's not the homeowner or the property owner that has the no trespassing sign. It is the Airbnb renters that stopped paying the landlord that now have a sign outside of the place that they are now illegally squatting saying no trespassing. I know my rights.
The sign on the door says it all. No trespassing. If you try and enter, we will press charges for violation of expectation of privacy. This sign is on the front door of Fazana Rahman's Airbnb dorm rental. She owns it, but says she can't get access to it.
Now they're refusing to leave until there's an eviction order. I think they're just trying to gain time to stay there for free.
And because of the backlog, because of how long an eviction process takes, from the day that this homeowner goes to court and files everything that she needs to file to start the eviction process, it could be a year, it could be 18 months. Meanwhile, the people illegally living in this place, and how did they get in there? They rented on Airbnb for 30 days, and after that, well, they're entitled to tenants' rights thanks to California law. So they could stay there rent-free for a year and a half. How does this make any sense? Who exactly are we protecting with this kind of law?
Because they haven't paid.
No.
This all started when her most recent guest did make a long-term rental reservation through Airbnb and checked in on October 25th. The guest did pay through Airbnb monthly.
So this story starts 6, 7, 8 months ago. That is 8 months of having a place that you are paying property taxes on, you are paying home insurance on. If it's not paid off outright, you're paying a mortgage on, and you can't get rent for. How are we allowing this?
And checked in on October 25th. The guest did pay through Airbnb monthly, and you can see on the reservation details the checkout date was May 24th. When her cleaning lady went to clean the rental,
They answered the door and they said, no, we haven't moved out. She said, should I come tomorrow? And they said, no, don't come back.
Farzana went.
Don't come back to the cleaning lady. The brazenness of these kinds of incidents, the fact that people are so empowered to believe they just get away with this because they do. I don't care if you're getting away with it thanks to some loopholes in the law. Why do you think it's okay to screw over this little old lady who is trying to make a living renting out her place? Why is that okay? Even if the law says you can do it, why do you think you should do it? I mean, this is awful. People that do this are a special kind of a-hole.
Farzana went to the rental, this time, she says, with police. The next morning, still not gone, and this hand...
That's right. We can't even if you show up with a police officer, the tenant's rights for these squatters, there's nothing that can be done. Even if you've got the deed, it is your property, there's nothing you can do. How did we let it get this bad?
Still not gone, and this handwritten no trespassing sign on the front door that states, "We will vacate the property when you filed the proper paperwork with the civil magistrate for an eviction."
We'll leave after you get a court to force us to leave in about 1 to 2 years. Unbelievable.
We will vacate the property when you filed the proper paperwork with the civil magistrate for an eviction, for we are legal residents of this home.
This is my place, and I'm counting on this income. My son.
When you're interviewing prospective tenants, whether it's for a long-term lease or a short-term lease, find out how many books of tenant law they've recently read.
For we are legal residents of this home.
This is my place, and I'm counting on this income. My son is in college. I'm a single parent.
Farzana contacted Airbnb for help as she already had another long-term renter booked through Airbnb ready to move in. She says Airbnb has not been helpful.
They're sending me messages, please get help for your safety.
Airbnb is washing their hands of this situation. Airbnb likes to think of themselves as a platform, not a facilitator. And if there are problems with the law, well, then you got to go deal with that yourself. But maybe there should be some straight up disclaimers, or in places like California where we have these kind of squatter rights, maybe Airbnb should let the prospective landlord know, hey, if you let them stay for 30 days, they can claim that they're a squatter. Airbnb doing nothing? I don't like that.
They're sending me.
That company got started in California. They should know better.
They're sending me messages, please get help for your safety and get whatever legal help you have to get them out.
So the answer from Airbnb is call the police and hire a lawyer, but there's nothing we can do to get them out of there. I mean, is Airbnb at least suspending these people's profile? No, because we want them to be prospective renters in the future. Airbnb is struggling a little bit. The whole Superhost thing didn't really work out for them. There's not a whole lot of interest in traveling somewhere and having some random guy tell you, hey, here's where I like to go. Check it out.
I reached out to Airbnb several times. No one got back to me. Airbnb does have on their website this section devoted to things to consider before hosting monthly stays. Airbnb warns hosts who have guests who stay for a month or longer, you may not be able to remove a guest without going to court.
This is, once again, one of those public service announcements that we've got to repeat over and over and over again, because there's a lot of people that they're trying to make ends meet. They're trying to make extra money by renting out property that they own, renting out the room that they own. The laws in California are not on your side. People can do this, and unfortunately, people are doing this, and it's getting more and more common. I first heard about this probably 4 or 5 years ago with a couple that stayed 31 days at an Airbnb in Redlands and then said, we live here now. But you're hearing about a squatter story, it seems like every month, every couple of weeks, and they're the only ones that make to the news. I'm sure for a lot of people, it's embarrassing and it's a headache.
Airbnb warns hosts who have guests who stay for a month or longer, you may not be able to remove a guest without going to court. Attorney Maya Davis with James Scott Farron says when guests stay longer than 90 days, it's typically considered a holdover tenant.
The longer they stay, the more rights they develop. So the quicker you can act and get them out of there, the better it is.
I mean, would you be more protected with a traditional lease situation? I don't know. I really don't. It seems that unless you're doing Airbnb for a weekend here and a weekend there is not a lot of protection for you.
The longer they stay, the more rights they develop. So the quicker you can act and get them out of there, the better it is.
She suggests,
and you can't get them out of there. You've got to take them to court. The courts are backlogged. It's going to cost this woman a whole lot of time and money. And hopefully at the end of it, she wins. But what if she doesn't?
She suggests host's first step is to call police when a guest won't leave. And if police won't take action, you need to
If you're in the city of Los Angeles, good luck if they'll return the call. Police are a little understaffed with all the other crimes.
You need to file with the courts right away.
You may have to file what we call the summary ejectment, which means that you want this person out, but you have to go through the court proceeding. So at that point, you have to give notice. You have to file.
Is there not one person, this shouldn't be a partisan issue on either side. Is there not one person in the state legislature, the assembly, or the state senate that sees that there is a glaring omission in the laws, and whatever you think you're doing to protect tenants that are being screwed over by a bad landlord or whatever you think that is, that this is unacceptable and you are creating laws that enable criminal behavior, but you can't even call it criminal behavior anymore because what these squatters are doing is totally legal.
You have to file and serve papers. You have to appear in court and get the court to grant that before you just remove someone from the property.
We did go to Fazana's rental. No one answered the door.
Even the local news, which, my strategy is the local news gets involved, problems go away. The local news can't even do anything about this squatters. The laws are that airtight for the squatters. We're not even talking about tenants here. These are people that know exactly what they're doing. And it's not like they got strict with, COVID lockdowns or all the other nonsense we went with the last 4 years. They just straight up know that they don't have to pay and they don't have to get kicked out for a year. And that sounds pretty good to them.
We did go to Fazana's rental. No one answered the door. I also left a message with a number listed on the sign. As for Fazana, she filed eviction paperwork with the court to try and get possession of her rental.
It's wasting my time. It's wasting my energy. It's stressing me out.
That woman sounds so defeated. I so feel for her. And I don't think, at least above board, there's really a lot that she can do. And at that point, you really start to see a little bit of despair because you are trapped. You've got to keep paying. The person that's staying there illegally doesn't have to keep paying. And all you can do is wait for a lengthy, expensive court process to play out. But you know what? I got to imagine for a lot of people that see the state of dysfunction that California is in, that wouldn't be the end of the story because that's all you can do above board. But as you know, sometimes this audience, the KABC audience, they're able to think outside of the box. They're able to think of creative solutions to this very real problem that is affecting property owners every single day. And that's where I need your help, because while it might not necessarily be kosher, there have to be ways to get a squatter out of your house. Might not be the way that they're recommending that you do it, but I bet you there's a way or two that you've thought of. Maybe you've even practiced it in the past. If you've had a squatter, I'd love to hear from you. 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. If you've got a great idea how to get rid of this squatter, I don't care if it's necessarily above board or not, because at this point, these people are breaking the law. I'm not saying that you should commit any acts of violence here, but there's got to be a way to get these scumbags out of the place. If you've got an idea for me on how we get the squatters out of this house, give me a call. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. How do we get the squatters out of the Airbnb? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC. A woman was renting out her place on Airbnb for a few months to a couple who, on the day to move out, decided to put a no trespassing sign saying, "We're squatters now. If you want us out, you've got to take us to court." I got a real creative audience here at KABC. If you've got a better way to deal with this situation that might not necessarily be above board, I'd love to hear it. 800-222-KABC. Let's go to John in Orange. John, hello.
Hey, Randy, good to talk to you again. If it was me, I would just stop paying the utility bills. Lights go out, gas stove stops working, water stops working. I mean, the squatters should be paying it, and if they're not paying it, it's their problem when the utility person comes out and shuts it off.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Shut off all, call your utility companies, have everything shut off immediately.
That might be a little too active for the courts, but if you do it for non-payment, it's not your fault.
I like it. Thank you so much for the call, John. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC. How would you get rid of the Airbnb squatters? Doesn't necessarily have to be above board here, because it's not like these jackasses are playing by the rules either. They kind of are. Let's go to Bob in Long Beach. Bob, hello.
Yeah, I had a friend who had to deal with this, and he removed the front door and the garage door.
I love it.
It got him to pay immediately.
That's great. It's literally what people used to do when their kids are grounded. You take their door away. That'll learn them real fast.
Yeah, take the doors off.
I love
Tell
that.
them they'll
That's
be back
great,
the next
Bob.
morning as long as they're either out or they pay.
That's great. Bob, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. Take the front door off. Take the garage door off. Now we're getting real creative here. We're cooking with gas because we didn't turn our utilities off. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. How do we get rid of these Airbnb squatters? Bob and Chino. Bob, hello.
Yeah, hi. I would send them a letter and say the house is going to be renovated, and then I'd go over there and I would say you're going to have an interruption of utilities. You could turn them off, but I would interrupt them and I'd put those construction lights in the backyard and I'd turn them on and I'd have guys out there all night working on whatever they can work on. I'd have window company come out and rip all the windows out, and then I would tell them we're going to go in and renovate the kitchen and the bathroom, and as soon as they stepped out and opened the door, I'd send my guys in there and rip all that out so they wouldn't have it to use.
I love it. That is great, Bob. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Jim in Reseda. Jim, hello.
Hi, Randy. I come across some YouTube videos. It's this company called Squatter Squad, and what you do is that basically you lease to them, and then they squat on the squatters and basically make it really uncomfortable for them to stay there, and then they walk away.
I love it. You know what's great, Jim? There's a couple of those different services. There's one guy named Flash. He's the squatter hunter. Local News did a walk along with him, and it was successful. The Squatter Squad did a walk along with one of the local news channels, and they actually had a situation where even they couldn't get the people out. But yeah, I do love that that's now a thing that we've created. That is a new job getting created in this economy. People hired to get rid of the squatters. Jim, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. How would you get rid of these Airbnb squatters? Jennifer in Irvine. Jennifer, hello.
Hey, Randy, love the show. Here's what I did to get my squatter out. It was my ex-boyfriend, and I filed for a restraining order. And as part of that, it was granted, and as part of that was a move-out order. I had to get out immediately.
And I got to assume that process moves a lot faster than eviction court.
Immediate. Yep. It's great.
That is a great one. Jennifer, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. We're going to keep going with your phone calls. How would you get rid of the Airbnb squatters? Doesn't necessarily have to be above board. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. We take your emails as well, randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. A woman was renting out her place on Airbnb in Southern California for a few months. On the day the tenants were supposed to move out, they put up a no trespassing sign, said they have squatters' rights, and the only way you're getting us out of here is with a court order. How would you get rid of these Airbnb squatters? And we're not necessarily talking about above the board here. I want some creative solutions. That's what this audience is known for. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Brett in Orange. Brett, hello.
Hey, good afternoon, Randy. How are you?
Doing great.
Wonderful. Thanks for taking my call. I'd put a fumigation tent over it and gas them. Pretend there's termites.
I think that's a great idea, and I happen to be very close personal friends with the termite company. So if this ever happens to me, I'm in good.
Perfect.
Thanks for the call, Brett.
That's my
Appreciate it. That's great. Oh my. Okay, next time I do a Termite Tuesday spot for McKern Inspections. Hey everybody, it's Termite Tuesday, and guess what? McKern Inspections can help fumigate your house whether you have termites or you want to pretend you have termites to get a squatter out. I love it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. How about Eric in Orange? Eric, hello.
Hey, my call is a little bit related to the previous caller. I think you got to treat bloodsuckers with bloodsuckers and get yourself a big bag of mosquitoes or other biting insects and blow them in through the window.
Oh, there you go. Now, here's a question just procedurally. How does one acquire a bag full of mosquitoes?
I'm imagining, down at your local hardware store next to, you got your ladybugs, you got your little praying mantises. You're just going to have your squatter's box also. I think it's a growth opportunity.
I think this is going to be a great business for a whole bunch of people. Blow in the mosquitoes. I love it. How you get the mosquitoes out of there? Well, then you call the fumigation company. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. How would you get these Airbnb squatters out of your place? Give me some creative ideas here, because right now this homeowner's only avenue is to file with the magistrate court, go through the eviction process, and in a year and a half to 2 years, maybe she'll get her place back. We can do better for this woman. She's trying to put her kid through college. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Ann in Mission Viejo. Ann, hello.
Hey, Randy. I would make sure that the utilities would be in my name with a special code word so that nobody could change anything into somebody else's name. And I'd make sure that everything was shut off immediately. And I would call code enforcement because it's illegal to live in a home without running water. So they would not only would they would force the people out, and basically you have somebody else do it for you.
There you go. That's a great idea. Get the other officials involved that might want to do this. That's great. Thank you so much for the call, and appreciate it. How would you get the Airbnb squatters out of your place? 800-222-KABC. Let's go to John in San Pedro. John, hello.
Hey, hello. How you doing? Yeah, you guys are really overthinking this. Here in the San Pedro area and in Carson area, we have a large community of Samoan culture, and I'm very fortunate to have some Samoan buddies. So I would have them go over and tap on the door and say, at 5 p.m., me and my family are renting this place, and you guys got to leave. And I guarantee by the size and look of my buddies, they'll be gone. So give the lady my number, and give her my number, and I'll pass them over to her. Ciao.
It seems like your friends could have a real side hustle doing this.
They probably do. Some of them are in front of the nightclub over in Santa Monica, but I think they do have some side gigs, but I can't say it on the air. Breaking a leg.
I get you. I get what you're putting down, John. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. All right. Get some real big Samoan friends. Now we're cooking with gas. Let's go to Bobby in Santa Clarita. Bobby, hello.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Doing great.
So I ride Harleys, and I have some pretty notorious friends. I would just go have a barbecue in the front yard.
That is great.
Just roll up and say hi. I would even invite him to the barbecue. Well, you know what? You got to be respectful.
Hey, as soon as you get them out the door, though, then you can get in and lock the door. Now, would one of your Harley buddies be constantly revving the engine in neutral?
He would probably have it backed into the house in neutral.
There you go. Bobby, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it out in Santa Clarita, my hometown. Let's go to Dale in Culver City. Dale, hello.
Hey, Randy, good to talk to you. You know, I was listening to your listeners. I don't know how you would collect mosquitoes, but you could collect a skunk. Dead skunks are all over the place in the South Bay. Also, if you put Kenny G on a loud speaker in the backyard and make them listen to that for a couple of days, they would want to leave.
So go all Waco on it and blast them with annoying music.
Kenny G.
I love it.
Yep,
Unless they're
that's
big
my
jazz
idea.
fans, they're going to be out of there. Dale, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. Blast them with Kenny G. This audience, solutions-based, the KABC listeners. Let's go to Mike in Orange County. Mike, hello.
Yeah, I have the same idea. Put some skunks in.
I mean, it'll be a pain in the ass to get the skunk smell out, but you know what? It's effective. I've been skunked in this place, and it is miserable.
Especially a fresh dead one.
Oh, my. Thank you so much for the call, Mike. Appreciate it. You know what? The day we adopted our second dog, Rita, we got woken up in the middle of the night and she started barking. And the first thought was, oh, great. We have a yappy little chihuahua. I thought she was so quiet and sweet. No. She had just moved into the house and alerted us that there was a skunk crawling around in our crawl space under the house. And about 10 seconds into it, we could smell it. And it was unpleasant. We had to call a trapper company. We had to get the trap set out. And then the trap was not in the perfect place. And a cat got into it. So I had to get the cat out. But eventually we got the skunk out. And we had to put crock pots all around the house with vinegar to get that smell out. It was unpleasant. Needless to say, the first thing I did was seal up that damn crawl space. I digress. Let's go to Robert in L.A. Robert, hello.
Good afternoon. I would do a couple of things. Call from West LA, by the way. I don't know why you guys always ask what city we're calling from, but we do. Anyway, so I would do a couple of things. Taking the front door and the back door off is a beautiful solution. I've never heard of that before. I love it. Front door, back door off. Now live there. Also, fumigating the thing might not be legal because the company wouldn't do that. But there was another one. Living without water and power. Once somebody finds out, hey, they don't have water and power, somebody might come there to investigate. That's two great things I love. Front door, back door off, no electricity, no water. Is huge. And the other things might work too, depending on who you are. Take some buddies over there, you know. But anyway, that's what I would do.
Those are some great suggestions, Robert. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. By the way, little fun fact. When you call a radio station like KABC at 800-222-KABC, and you do get asked what city you're calling from, what neighborhood you're calling from, it's for hot zips. So the people in marketing, the people in sales think that people listening to the radio get real excited if you happen to live in Whittier and you hear someone call in that's from Whittier, where the girls are prettier. I don't know. It's just fun. Adds a little local flair. I always like finding out where people are calling from. Although, I got to tell you, I can't steal this, but it's the funniest damn thing I've ever seen. This John Mulaney talk show that he did for a week at Netflix called Everybody's in LA. It was a talk show where they had guests and they had like celebrities, but also Dr. Lucy Jones and someone from the La Brea Tar Pits. And you know what he did? It was the funniest thing. He would take calls. They would take random calls, and I love taking random live phone calls. And he would end every single call with, hey, what kind of car do you drive? I thought that was hilarious. Can't steal it, but that's great. More of your phone calls coming up, and man, we'll keep going. Two more, then we'll go to break because I love these calls so much. Let's go to Jerry in Downey. Jerry, hello.
Hey, how we doing out there?
Doing great.
Hi. Well, I want to tell you what I had done in the past, and it works rather quickly and effectively. What you do is you just move in.
You move in.
Move into the house with them. You sleep on the couch, and you run the TV at terrible hours. You eat the food in the refrigerator, and you just make them miserable. And it took about 4 days, and they were gone.
I love that idea. That's a great one. Jerry, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. Walk around in my underwear, scratch myself, Make sure I eat food that's going to make me expel gas from both places. Now we're thinking. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. How would you get the Air BNB squatters out? It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. If you'd like to email me, you can do so at randykabc@gmail.com. Penny writes in about unwanted squatters. It's time to call Uncle Vinny the Hammer and his brother Carmine the Butcher. Ed writes in and says, years ago, a friend of mine had issues with a business partner that took over the company with epoxy glue to glue the doors shut so they couldn't get in, and the keyholes too. That might work real quick. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Alfredo in Pasadena. Alfredo, hello.
Hey. Hello.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, so I think what I would do is help with the LA County prison realignment and get about 6 people to sign a lease and move them in. I think that would get rid of the squatters.
There you go. That's a good one. More of your calls coming up in minutes. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We've only got a few minutes. I want to try to get to everybody, so it's time for a lightning round. If I go to you, we've only got about 30 seconds for each call. Greg in Van Nuys. Greg, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great.
I thought of another idea. I had a roommate issue a few years ago, and I gave him the choice. He could leave on his own or he could leave in pieces. It's up to him. And that got him out.
Oh, my.
And
there you go, Greg. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Just hearing his voice say that, I'd get out. Tom in Santa Monica. Tom, hello.
Yeah, Randy, I would use a weenie. That's what a plumber uses to clog up the pipe, the 4-inch sewer line, so you can test all the piping in new construction. You open up the clean out, you put a weenie down there, blow it up, put the cap back on. They'll be out probably in about day and a half.
As soon as the toilet's not flushing, I'd imagine so. Tom, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Unless they start going on the walls. Eric in Burbank. Eric, hello.
Hey, I would say get some nasty fish or some nasty meat and stick it in the attic, or sneak in when they're not there and put it in their furniture.
Oh, my. Right in the entertainment center, right under the couch cushion, right in the chimney.
Yep.
I love it. Eric, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. I don't know why, at least just for comedy's sake, putting the fish everywhere beats putting the mosquitoes everywhere. We got some really, really great ideas here. Let's go to Dale in Long Beach. Dale, hello.
Hello, Randy. I'm trying to think of a way to keep the average person from keeping the squatter to come in your house in the first place. I have AD&T, which is an alarm system registered to the city. So if you break in, my alarm's going to go off and you're a burglar, not a squatter.
There you go. That's one way to approach it. I love it. Dale, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. Well, I think that if this lovely woman that was renting out the Airbnb that got caught up in all this, where these people refused to pay, refused to leave, want to go through the year-long eviction process, we've given her some ideas. Are all of these above board? Are all of these necessarily legal? Maybe not. But at this point, going the regular route, there's not much you can do. She tried going with the police. They could do nothing. The eviction process is going to take a year and a half, so sometimes you got to get creative. And I think this audience, once again, has gone above and beyond, as you always do. That's the great thing about this show and this station. We take your calls. You're a big part of this show, and we're so happy to have you. Thank you all so much for listening every day to this show. It is such a dream come true to do it. I'm always happy to be here, talking to you, telling you about the local issues that matter most, and taking your phone calls. If you miss any one of our shows, you can download the podcast. Go to kabc.com, click on podcasts, go to the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify, search for the News Blitz with Randy Wang, search for Randy Wang News Blitz. It'll pop up. Hit subscribe. You'll download all the episodes. You won't want to miss our Happy Hour Friday shows. They're the best. We'll see you tomorrow for another News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC.